Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year from us at American Scouser TV. I don't know why I started with the wrong intro, but that's mainly because head's not exactly in this one. Before we get into yesterday's debacle, Happy New Year, Cozzy. How are you on this first Reckless Friday of 2026?
Yeah, it's 2026. That is a fact. You started with the wrong intro because Liverpool usually start with the wrong intro in most games. So why not?
It was kind of fitting, wasn't it? Yeah,
really.
Absolutely no plan.
I am good, mate. Yeah, I'm okay. Not with the Reds. I'm far from okay with the Reds, but you know what I mean. I'm okay with everything else. So
good. You and the family have a nice New Year. Did you do anything? Just stay in. What was the talk to the people?
So we went to Vegas.
That's right.
Nothing New Year's Eve. We dove home New Year's Eve, and we were all in bed by 7 o'clock.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want to be in Vegas on New Year's Eve.
No,
it was nice to spend time with family and things. My parents are in town, so they're here for another 10 days or so. So it's nice to spend some time with the parents and things, man. So yeah, it was good, Gal. How was yours?
Oh, that's great, man. Ours was good. We'd gone to my in-laws for Christmas. I came home on last Saturday. Believe it or not, I woke up 5 a.m. because, like you, I'm superstitious, and I wanted to watch the Reds at my house on my couch. And then I drove all the way home 5 hours in the snow to get here 5 minutes before watching that shit-ass Wolves game. And then said to myself, why the fuck did I do that? I could have just fucking read the reviews that we played like shit and got a win. Kel came back on Wednesday, brought the dog back. So we went out for a few bevies in the afternoon, hung out with some friends, got some pizzas and came home. I joked. I celebrated New Year's with the good people of Liverpool because we basically popped a bottle at 7 p.m. and went to bed at 8. So I said, fuck it. It's New Year's somewhere. We called it New Year's and called it a night. And then woke up yesterday, went to the pub with some friends to watch that debacle. And man, that was some shit. So before we get to the match itself, let's touch on the lineup. Don't know the manager had too many options of where he's going. But where I want to start with you is Gakpo Chiesa. He starts Frimpong. He starts Frimpong on the right-hand side. You know, we'll get to, I'm sure, Frimpong at some point because for 45 minutes, he's probably the only good thing we had in the first half going forward. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts when you saw the lineup, and could you honestly believe Liverpool set up with literally one attacker in their front three?
It's a good question. Against Leeds at home. I don't know, Gal. I can feel sorry for the manager a little bit because his options are tough right now in terms of injuries and things, and I get that completely. And I can feel sorry for him in that sense. I was okay with the lineup. You know, the Frimpong idea of playing further forward because that's his position. But anyway, the idea of him playing further forward really helps Liverpool because he's the only one who's kind of an outlet in terms of pace.
You saw that on display as well.
Yeah, you know, he was great for 45 at least. Didn't like the idea. I think it was in the post-match where the manager said, well, Wirtz hasn't really trained because he's felt his hamstring, I believe. He said he's only trained one day this week, which makes me more think, well, why didn't you just start Cody Gakpo then? Or why didn't you start Chiesa then, left wing? You know what I mean? I don't know. This 4-2-3-1 formation that he's gone back to a little bit there, Gal, it just doesn't work. And Wirtz is not a left winger. Can we all just agree on this? Can we agree going forward? It's a new year, guys. It's a fresh New Year's resolution. Wirtz should be playing left wing for Liverpool. Like, it just can't happen. So, yeah, other than that, mate, I feel sorry for the manager in terms of certain choices and in terms of options. But, you know, when I see the lads he brought off the bench, they're pretty good players still. Do you know what I mean? And, yeah, he doesn't trust them to start. So the biggest question is, Galen, I'll give it to you. Why are you playing for Liverpool Football Club then?
Yeah. No, I mean, we've asked these questions before, you know, and maybe there has to be more of a look into the recruitment process and a question for Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards and the brain trust that is. But, you know, We were all pretty excited about the signings they got. The manager seemed to be very excited about the signings he got. I think if you smashed true serum in the guy's neck, he would have told you that he would have fought to keep Luis Diaz at the club. I don't think the club gave him a choice there because I think Diaz asking to leave and them not being willing to give him a contract. I do think that was on the brains, as you like to say, the guys who pump the fucking spreadsheets. They miscalculated that. If their real intention was to not block Rio and Gamoa, then they probably should have taken a goddamn look in the mirror and realized they have a manager who had 2 young teenage players and early 20-year-olds. He wouldn't trust, to steal a Cozzy phrase, he has no fucking time for projects.
No.
And he wouldn't work through a project with Harvey Elliot or a project with Jarrell Kwanzaa. So why do you think the 16 going on 17-year-old is a viable option when you're already an attacker short? So we went into the season with 5 attackers, and if you count Rio 6, you're down 1 because last year we had 6 attackers making Chiesa 6 and he still didn't use them. So really you had 4 and a Chiesa and a kid.
And
and you needed to replace them.
And two can only play centre forward. So it's not like you can play across the front 3. You know
exactly. And all this talk that Ekatike can play out left, and we never saw it once, even. And I understand people say, oh, Isak didn't get to fitness, and we'll get to Ekatike. Not, in my opinion, I know the Anfield rep called him like the second best player on the pitch. I personally didn't see it. Okay. I think that is stretching to try to keep the one positive so far this season a positive on a day where he didn't do much for me to make it a positive. But let's start with a positive because I think we only have 1 or 2 to talk about. Let's talk about Frimpong and what he brought on the right-hand side. And what does it mean in your eyes, Cos? Because you've talked about getting away from the 4-2-3-1, which I support. I'm assuming you think we should go back to the somewhat of that diamond setup or where Wirtz is floating a little bit more. Mm-hmm. If and when Mo Salah comes back, is your mindset that Mo becomes one of those front 2 and you give Frimpong a chance to maybe overlap with him at times on the right-hand side of that midfield, be an overlapping fullback? Like, what is the plan in your mind, not Slot's mind, in your bald brain? What would the plan be for Mo Salah's reintegration? Because let's be clear on one thing. We need his fucking goals. I'll apologize now for my language. I'm in a really, really bad mood.
Oh, yeah, that's completely fair. I'm all in, just include him as an extra attacker. And he sat down with Mo saying, listen, this is over. We all know it's over as it is. But in the next 6 months, it's going to be completely over. We need you to do this role. And it is the last thing you can do for Liverpool here. The greatest thing you can do is score a few goals and play this role that's uncomfortable for you as a striker, as a forward, up front. Providing Frimpong is staying fit, which we believe he is. We believe his injury record was pretty good before he came to Liverpool. He's had he's took some time to adjust to the league, but now hopefully he's adjusted to that league and he could be a starter. We're the slowest team in the league, so we need pace out of something. You need an outlet, and Frimpong was great for 45. I think the manager lost his mind again yesterday with the subs. It didn't make any sense. I have really had enough of this manager making a couple of subs and then changing like 7 different positions. It's really annoying me now. And I remember me and Bickler were, talking about it in the Discord during the game that he put Frimpong to right back. And then he was like, well, hopefully, Chiesa's going to cut more inside and Frimpong's still going to get that freedom to bomb up. Then subbed him 5 minutes later for Szoboszlai. That tells me that it's a manager who has no fucking idea what he's doing. Like in terms of the in-game right now, that he's just panicking and he's just being so reactive to things. Because what you would do then is to say, well, if you're going to do Frimpong in 5 minutes, you may as well just do him now as the one change with the other 3 lads anyway, because you've literally just done him 5 minutes later. So this just makes no difference. What was the difference of playing Frimpong right back for 5 minutes? Then you're doing Szoboszlai anyway. So I'm at the stage, Gal, with Frimpong, where if it's a 4-2-3-1 formation, he cannot play right back. He just can't play right back. And everyone knows my talk. Well, you do, and the people in the Discord and things know my thoughts when we signed the lad, right? That he's not a right back, and everyone was losing their mind, going, "You're talking shit." Funny enough, he's not a right back. So in a 4-2-3-1, he can't play right back. But in a 4-4-2 diamond with 4 midfielders, where the midfielders are really narrow, that can work as a right back. So even as the 4-4-2, it gives you an extra option to play right back. You can't trust Joe Gomez's body, you can't trust Conor Bradley's body. So there's going to be times he's going to play right back because he can play right back.
Especially against these teams that set up in a low block the way that they do, because you get that fifth attacker.
But yeah, exactly, yeah. But even in against a low block, you've still got to create some sort of space and attempt of trying to score a goal. Liverpool have went, listen, and I say this all the time, you know, I'm the manager's biggest critic. I've never been as fan since he came in. There was just certain games last year, even when we won, I was like, that just seems a bit off. It's something didn't smell right. But I give him so much credit, Gal, for the last 7-8 games, because you have to stop losing games eventually. You need to do something to change it. You need to make us harder to beat. Liverpool have been harder to beat in the last 6-7 games, whether we like it or not. The style of football, right?
We don't like it. And the Anfield showed it yesterday.
And Anfield's listen, the manager's done that, brilliant. But you've focused so much on not conceding that you forgot how to score. And I can feel sorry for you for Isaac's broken leg and things like that. It's just unlucky, and I can feel sorry for you in terms of the situation with Salah with AFCON, and he's away now when you're going through a bad spell. And I'm completely with you there, but I'm not with you with some of your tactical decisions in game.
Yeah,
I agree. It's appalling. Like I can feel sorry for you in the summer when they sell Luis Diaz and don't sign a left winger. I can feel sorry for you that they don't sign Mark Gay. I have all the sympathy in the world, the manager. I have all the sympathy in the world with the injuries, but I have no sympathy for you on the 75th minute just to throw on 6-7 attackers and just go, let's see what happens. I have zero sympathy for you saying Vertus done one training session and then you play him left wing. Like, you know what I mean, Gal? Come on, we've run footy enough, Gal. We know what bad football managers look like. And I'm not saying like this manager's a horrifically bad footy manager, Gal. But we all know when you look at managers doing wild decisions, and you just think, this doesn't smell right. Do you know what I mean? Like around the league, we watched it with Ten Hag for a while. Ten Hag dragged on. Ten Hag's a great thing. Forget that he's bold and he's Dutch, right? We knew as Liverpool fans, he was there for like 2.5, 3 years. We knew as Liverpool fans 6 months in, we were like, that's never going to work. And it will always end up at this this end date. We all knew when he was doing certain things in games, you're like, that's not right. Oh, but he went on like an 8-game winning streak. Yeah, it's not right though.
Well, it's the same, and it's similar to what we're seeing with Amorim right now. I think it's what Chelsea believed they were seeing. I mean, I don't give Todd Bowley any credit with the Maresca thing because that feels like it was more than just a fallout. I don't know if you saw the reports over the weekend that they literally phoned into his coaching staff and told them they needed to sub off Palmer. It's like upper management supposedly. Wow. Now it's not, but that was one of the final things that pushed Maresca out the door. Wow. And the logic was they are open to sell any player, and they were going into the January window. And if their highest asset, their most valuable asset was Cole Palmer, and there's a potential that another hamstring injury might cause a problem. And they were erring on the side of caution with sports science. Now, if any of that is true, and he got off of a 2-2 game, I don't blame Maresca for walking, and he didn't walk. He forced them to fire him so he get paid, and I don't blame him for that either. Part of the reason guys go to Chelsea is so that they can have 3 years off if they want it. Like that's part of the lure. And we'll talk about Maresca on a different day, but I just found that kind of comical.
Well, but Maresca's interesting in terms of the Liverpool case, because if you're Liverpool, and I mentioned this yesterday on the Thursday show, as much as I don't like the manager, and I never have, it's plays into Liverpool's hands just to wait and not sack him. And for the people who want him sacked or whatever it is, he has 18 months left on a deal. Liverpool.
Yeah, he goes this summer if this doesn't turn around second half, and he may go on mutual decision. We talked about this. He may say, for what is best for my career is to go.
I think it's more the fact of like I think he'll ask for the contract in the summer, and Liverpool will go, this isn't worth it. But it's best for Liverpool, though, and this is my point I was trying to make yesterday on the Thursday show. It's best for Liverpool to wait because you don't know what's happening now with Maresca. If they like Maresca, I have no idea.
Right.
Alonso.
Absolutely.
And the World Cup.
And the World Cup.
Where you're Nagelsmann or... Well, I don't want to see Pochettino, but let's just say...
Nagelsmann would be at the top of my list, to be honest. If he has a good World Cup, he's on the top of my list. And I've said it before, Nagelsmann was on the list when they hired Klopp. and he was still at Hoffenheim. They liked him as a young up-and-comer. He's been on the LFC list. He's been talked. Well, he was too young, but my point is they hired Brendan Rodgers. Like, they got lucky that Jurgen Klopp was willing to take their job. Like, let's be real. At the time,
but there's
we
also
were very lucky.
That's a part of this, though, going back to this situation. So Brendan, of course, gets those extra few months, but Liverpool could have been speaking to Klopp in the summer after he left Dortmund, and he just went, lads, I just need 3 or 4 months or whatever, or just get the feel from his agent. Maybe not spoke to Klopp directly, but through his agent, say he really wants a few months off. Come and see us in November, and then the right man came up. Liverpool right now could just be doing that now and just saying, listen, we're not going to give him a new fucking contract. And I keep saying this to people, Gal. The question is he the right man to win 40 matches for Liverpool? That's not the question. And I've mentioned this before to you. The question is, Liverpool need to go and spend another 500 million in the next 2 windows. Do you trust him with that money and the signings? And
not just the signings, the sales.
Yeah, of course.
Because we've already talked about, me and you before we went on air today, when we were talking about the whole Rio thing, and I mentioned it earlier, Kwanzaa wanted first team football, and who knows if they sign Mark Gahey and they still have Konate in the fold, Kwanzaa may have pushed for a move, even if Slot had used him last year 50-50 with Gomez and the others. Like, he might have thought to himself, what is best for me getting in the England squad is to move on at this point. And that would have been and that's his decision. But it was clear the manager didn't rate the player or didn't rate the project or the timeline for the player. And similar to Harvey Elliott, maybe it was the formation, maybe it was just sheer dislike for curly-haired young men with full heads of hair. I don't know, because he seems to love Dominic Soboslai, so he doesn't mind a full head of hair. But the process in which we rebuild the squad, and we've both been very vocal about this, that this was the first of arguably 3 massive windows, and I think maybe this window is almost being thrown a little bit of a curveball, because I don't know what they'll do, if anything. We will get to transfers at some point. Let's go back to the match here. We talked about Frimpong. He offered some bright things. You can see his pace. I mean, that one time where he just ran by Goodmanson, he kicked the ball by him and just, he literally was 10 yards behind him. It looked like Michael Owen in a race. And he ran him down. He got a few crosses in the box. Now, the manager mentioned it post-match. I'm kind of sick of him saying, well, it would be nice to see. You're the Finn manager. Get people to do it. But I've been critical of Ekitike all year long. That he doesn't spend enough time in the box. And all I hear is, well, they don't cross, and he has to drop back to get into play. I think part of it is he reads his own hype, and he is an extremely confident footballer, but he thinks he's a number 10, and he plays like a second striker, not a true number 9. He's never in the 6-yard box, and there were 2 or 3 times where Frimpong flashes the ball into areas that I hate saying this because I've been called an apologist, but he flashes the ball into areas that Isak is at all times. And it felt to me like the game was crying out for more players in the box. I don't know what's changed with Curtis Jones and even Soboslai. Yeah. They don't make the late runs into the box they used to. It's got to be tactical. How do you create more opportunities to score goals if when in the final third you don't have players in the box?
It's impossible. That's literally impossible. Like, that's why I know I've mentioned this before, but the throw-ins in the Premier League at the moment, teams have worked out actually, lads, if you put the ball in the box loads of times, you've got more chance of scoring a goal in the box. And I don't need a fucking spreadsheet for that, goal. Right? Of the last 5 years of football, if the ball is closer to the goal, you have more chance of putting it in the net. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't difficult. Liverpool, the thing is with Ekitike though, and I agree what people are saying there, like he's like a second striker, no problem. But there's also parts you've got to do tactically for the team, and you've got to go, hey lad, fucking stand there. We have no one else. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's also that part. Where's the management? Where's the direction? To go, if you keep coming deep, you're off. Oh, we haven't got anyone else. We'll just do something else and go, no, you're going to learn your lesson today. I've told you not to come deep. You're getting hooked at half time. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. It's okay for you though to hook Kwanzaa at half time, isn't it? Because he wasn't winning enough battles. Oh yeah, by the way. So I feel like we've lost that manager though. We've lost that. We've lost that assertiveness from the manager.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we gave him a lot of credit last year for the halftime adjustments, for changing tactics mid-match.
Where's that manager gone? No go.
To be honest, guys, you were on this. I'll give you credit. You were on this in our Discords. You called a lot of this stuff out at the end of last season. it feels to me like he's genuinely, like, for 3 months, it felt like he used the Forest loss to galvanize him and anger him. And then it feels like the PSG just destroyed him. Like, literally, Luis Enrique got in his head, and the PSG 2-legged tie and losing at Anfield 1-0 and then losing on pens. It almost felt like, not that it took away this sheer of invincibility, but maybe he did start to doubt his own tactics, doubt his way. And listen, if a manager starts to doubt himself, his players are going to follow. I mean, that, and it didn't help either. You know, we saw Klopp lose his number one when when he had the fallout with Bovic or whatever his name was. I always forget how to pronounce his name. And he was a good manager, right? We know that. Or good number two. He was good at it. And he did a good job. And they had their fallout, and we all said, "Oh, will things change?" You know, he handles first team training. We saw what it was like with Pep Linders, and he changed the way Klopp looked at things. So I do think a good number two. But again, if Haitanga leaving causes Slot to lose his stuff, then he's never the right guy for the job. So I'm sick of the excuses.
He's called the head coach. You are the coach. You are the man. Whether you have, like, it doesn't matter. It's still your decisions. And if, by the way, if it's about number two, you've hired that number two. That's on you. Like, you know what I mean? That's still. I've had enough of this. Like, it's like the set piece coach argument. I feel so sorry for that lad.
Well, he wasn't hired to do that job.
He wasn't. He was literally hired as an analyst, and he basically
performance development. He was supposed to help.
Yeah, and he went, "Yeah, go ahead. And then that lad, and I mentioned this yesterday, he has to fucking go and get another job. He has to sit down in job interviews when they're gonna go, "You're fucking shit as set piece coach." He goes, "I'm not a set piece coach. I was just asked to do it by Liverpool Football Club." I'm baffled, mate, by some of this manager. I am baffled. I was baffled last season by some of his decisions. I felt Liverpool got so much of a lead in the Premier League by the middle of January. It was game over anyway. It was fucking game over by January, right? And we got to the Plymouth game. We got over a really tough February where Liverpool played really well in February. The Villa away, Everton away, City away. That played really well. We got to the 1st of March, basically the PSG away game. And it's crumbled since then. Like, and some of the decisions, Gal, I think in football, and again, this is something a bit more deeper as well, but I think in football, Gal, right, I don't have to like the guy. I just need to understand what you're trying to do. So it doesn't matter whether I like the manager or not. But what are you trying, like, what's your end goal with that sub? What are you trying to do tactically to set us up? Liverpool right now have no identity, no tempo, no pace, no quality when they have the ball. They are a really, really bad football team. And the worst part is, Gal, we're set up tactically as a bad football team. And that's tactically, and that is on the manager. I cannot believe, Gal, and I will think about this till the day I die, that Liverpool have won the Premier League with 4 games to spare. He doesn't start Federico Chiesa in any of those 4 dead rubbers, and he's still at Liverpool in the summer. And by the way, he's now been promoted to your 5th choice. That, to me, honestly, Gal, right, it's one of those things where, Joe, in certain, like, touch points as managers, like, there's always, like, when you evaluate a manager's career, there's always touch points in certain games that you always remember. I always remember Jurgen Klopp in 2016 going down to Brighton and playing 3-5-2 with Wijnaldum and Chance centre-half and Liverpool win 5-1. And I've never done it since. He never did it. And I always want to ask Jurgen Klopp and go, "Oh, don't tell me about Barcelona. I don't care. What was you fucking thinking that day? Why did you do it when you had Degsy Lovren on the bench?" Because my mind boggles. But there's always certain touch points, I think, as managers, where that sticks like a sore thumb. The Kwanzaa one's always a great one. That's the first thing that you got from fucking Ellie Sub Kwanzaa in our time, first game of the season. You know, there's certain touch points. Liverpool now, he is making too many touch points for me, which stick out like a sore thumb. That's all. He's making things in game with subs and things like that, changes in the last few months, where you're like, that doesn't make sense to me. And that's why I'm really, really scared going forward.
So obviously we've touched on the squad, the injuries. You know, I think we've both been pretty fair and balanced with, you know, it's never a good thing if you're record signing, right, that you buy to score the goals that you lost. And let's be real, like, we sold Darwin, we sold Diaz, and we lost Jota, obviously. And, you know, I don't know that gets, I know it gets talked about a lot from the tragedy standpoint, which it should, by the way. And please, people, don't cut this and try to at me that Galley's being insensitive. I was pretty sensitive all summer and open to everybody's, like, we all grieve different. But the truth is, there still needed to be a conversation about the footballer in your squad you lost. And he's another player that wasn't replaced. I think someone in the chat spoke about it, Jimbo here, mentioning, that both Diaz and Jota, rest in peace, have not been replaced. And you bring in Diaz, if you think Ekitike is your Darwin replacement, right? And potentially I guess you could say then Isak is your Jota replacement. But you also played Luis Diaz through the middle a ton to accommodate
also was injured.
Rotating other players and Jota's injuries and well, Darwin being Darwin. And when you watch, when you look at this side, and then you start to realize, to your point, you're elevating a guy the manager doesn't want to play, and you're filling out his roster with a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid who was bright yesterday. I mean, he had two.
I mentioned in the Discord, I would have put him on at that time. Leeds were offering nothing, didn't want to score, so you may as well let the kid get hold of the ball. I'm okay with Rio doing loads of minutes if a team doesn't want to score and you're going to have 80%. I'm not okay with Rio doing minutes against Fulham away when it could be like 60-40 in possession. But if you're putting aside and Leeds have literally zero interest in scoring, let the kid get on the ball.
Leeds showed up. The reason Leeds supporters partied the way they did, the way they showed up and partied the way they did is that was a championship-like performance. Leeds showed up to get a 0-0 and got it.
And got subs. And by the way, made loads of changes. Wasn't even their first fucking.
Well, they rotated 5 players. I mean, I was shocked when I looked up and saw Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming on. I wouldn't have known he wasn't playing anyways because, well, they didn't get across the halfway line in the first half. But when they bring him on, I'm thinking to myself, this is literally the most informed striker in the Premier League. He scored in 5 or 6, and he's on the bench.
Script. Yeah, I've seen the script. And we all felt like he was going to score. Everyone went, this is going to be a Leeds 1-0 game. Gal, do you know the other thing that's really frustrating me in the last few weeks? Liverpool have been playing once a week. So Liverpool have had time off. I listened to Jurgen Klopp for years say, I'd love a week on the training field. I'd love a week on the training field. Just to train and have a normal preparation week to week. This manager's had it for the last 3 weeks. And we look worse. We literally look worse. The manager giving Christmas Day off, Van Dijk in the media. First time I've had Christmas Day off in England. This is amazing, spend time with the family. Then you go in and throw an absolute awful one against Wolves, and then throw another awful one against Leeds at home. So, as much as I can sit there with the manager, let's be frank here. A lot of managers would say you're not having Christmas Day off. Like, you just don't get it. In England, you don't get Christmas Day. I'm at the stage as well now with Wirtz and Frimpong. Maybe not Frimpong, because he's been injured and he hasn't really played with Wirtz. This is the winter break in Germany. This is his first Premier League season, and he's playing now he's going to start playing every 3 days. He's got a game in 2 days against Fulham.
Well, I think that's why we saw him get yanked, and I think that was the fear about the hamstring problem, because he isn't ready for it. And
if he had an hamstring issue, why didn't he do Gakpo?
Well, and I want to make a comment too, because I think the excuses are piling up, and the slot out folks we're making their own narrative and stories at a different point. The people who want to defend the manager, they make different excuses, right? We've done it on these programs. We've bantered about it in our Discord chats. People have bantered about it in our reels and our comments, and we appreciate all of you. So keep all the hate coming, because it just helps us fill the algorithm. But the truth is, Liverpool, if you look at it, actually had it pretty good in this fixture run. In this holiday fixtures, they had more space than most teams. Some teams were Newcastle played 4 matches in 10 days, and just by the circumstance, we ended up with, and that happens some years. Some years you get the 26th and the 29th, and you're like, okay, I understand why these guys are knackered on 70. I can't for the life of me. And I know it's some form of conditioning, but I think it has to be something on the players as well. I can't for the life of me understand how a 22-year-old kid can't play 80 minutes without looking like a literally an academy player. Because Ekitike is gassed at 65, 70 minutes. And by the way, he is useless for those final 20. He can't even give you 15. So, that's where I'm with you on feeling a little bit for the manager there. But then give me Chiesa for him on 60, so I get 60. Tell him, do your 70 minutes of running and give me 60 real minutes. Don't give me 80 half-assed.
Okay, and I'm with you there. You are right. But this comes back, I think, to the board. It's January the 2nd. What happens in January, lads?
Well, that's where we're going next, so it's a good
No, I know,
segue.
we'll get to that,
No, I know.
But the argument is, look, this hasn't been a surprise. It's been going on for 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
And you know Isak's been out. You know Isak's out for 3 months, and that happened 2 weeks ago.
That happened 2 weeks ago. So the argument is like, again, and I can swallow the Isak one, but lads, he was injured before that. You didn't replace Luis Diaz in the summer. I'm not. By the way, sometimes I keep saying this, you're going to have to overpay, and this comes to the point, and we may as well approach the transfer window because I think it's important. Going back to Harvey Elliot, but forget Harvey Elliot for a second. We'll get to him. I mentioned someone last night on the, whether you like the guy or not, right? I mentioned someone last night on the Thursday show. Serge Gnabry. He's 30 and he has 6 months left. Liverpool were not signing Serge Gnabry. We're just not, and that's fine. But Liverpool don't do signings like that. Liverpool wouldn't look and go, well, is he better than Chiesa? Yeah. Is he more direct than Gakpo? Yeah. Is he a better option, probably right wing than like in a 4-4-2 than Mo Salah? Yeah. So why don't you just do him? And just go, you got 6 months left on your deal. Come here for 2 years, 3 years, and try and sign for 35 million. But Liverpool don't do those type of signings. It's whether if he's on the list or he's not on the list. And by the way, full credit to the club. That has worked long term for Liverpool, and it's benefited Liverpool that they've done that. But sometimes, Gal, there's got to be a break glass moment, and go, fucking hell, we need a fucking footy player. Like, for example, whether you rate Brennan Johnson or not, whether you like him as a footy player or not, is he better than Chiesa? Yes. Is he better than Rio at the moment? Yes. Is he quicker than Gakpo and any of our other forwards, apart from Ekatike, probably? Yes. So for 35 million, can he do him? Do you know what I mean? I'm just at the stage, Gal, where we just don't. We're always trying to be the smartest men in the room, and we've had this conversation before, and I've mentioned it before. And Liverpool's top foot of the Champions League is on the line. Like, this is on the line. The manager's job's on the line. Why isn't the manager banging down doors going, I need a fucking centre half now? By the way, you needed the centre half back in October. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, Gal. We just do things that are just look wild to me. I don't make sense. I think that's harsh. He's better than Chiesa.
Bob says Johnson is not better than any of our forwards. That's why Frank Bingham. I can't agree with that, Bob. Brennan Johnson would easily, and I hate saying this, be our fourth attacker while Isak is out. Right now, he's
sub all the time.
He exactly, and he gives you a sub, and he can play across the line. He's played left wing if you want him to invert because he's a right footer. If you want to play him on the right and let Frimpong overlap with him, he can do that. He's a proven goal scorer, and he is proven he scores goals in the Premier League. I think he's had double digits twice, and he's homegrown. And you know, it isn't a signing that's a sexy one. It's not going to get everyone going crazy, but you know, 13 years ago today, the club, you know, announced that they signed Daniel Sturridge from Chelsea, and it split supporters. But I made a post this morning for our site saying, you know, 13 years ago we did this, and God, couldn't we use a finisher like him in this side right now? I mean, Daniel Sturridge scores 2 goals yesterday if he's playing, and he might do it at this age, to be honest.
But mate, you've nailed that in terms of it's not a sexy signing. Liverpool. By the way, Shaqiri wasn't a sexy signing. He came in and did a job. Wijnaldum wasn't a sexy signing at the time and came in. He's our best midfielder, right? So I'm just sometimes at the stage, Gal, where
Fabinho. People thought he was a joke for 3 months, and then he turned out to be the most important piece of the midfield.
Robertson, £8 million from Hull, couldn't get a game for 6 months, and then by the way, he's one of the best left backs to ever play for the club. I'm just at the stage, Gal, where I think you need to try something. Look how short the manager is. Look how short he is of attacking options. Wirtz is going to fall off a cliff in March. He hasn't had this winter break. It's his first time, like, going through a Premier League season. He's genuinely sitting there today, going through the rest day, going, I'm playing in 2 days away in fucking Fulham. I am away in Fulham in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? What do Liverpool do? Like, what do I do here? And by the way, we're going to put your left wing again. Like, but by the way, Gal, coming back to the main point I'm trying to make about this, I keep saying this, but I don't expect Liverpool to go out and sign Brennan Johnson. I don't expect them to go out and sign Serge Gnabry. But you've known that Liverpool have had issues for 8-9 weeks since January the 2nd. You could have been for example, a few years ago when you knew Liverpool had issues of centre half, you had Van Dijk standing next to a Christmas tree with a shirt, and he was there on January the 1st. He plays against Everton on January the 3rd and scores.
Well, that's the Sturridge thing. Sturridge was done. We knew the deal was done. It just took a day to get it over the line because they didn't work on New Year's.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm just at the stage, Gal, where it's like, hey, the season's on the line. It's on the line, Gal. But by the way, we're not asking for things that the club shouldn't know. You were short at centre half in the summer. That's why you tried to sign Mark Kay. You know what I mean? Like you were short then. So I just genuinely thought, to be honest, over the last few days, that I was expecting a surprise one. I thought Liverpool might pull one out the bag for you on January the 1st here. Do you know what I mean? I thought we were going to have like the Fabinho one, where out of nowhere, or the Jota one, funny enough, when it's just out of nowhere, and you're like, wow, where did that come from? I thought the Semenyo's the smoke screen, and Liverpool have signed another winger. I thought that's what I was. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool used to have the great smoke screens, didn't they? I thought we were going to have that type of signing, but it hasn't.
Well, let's touch on it. Let's start with Elliot, because there's been, and I got Twitter open over here. It's blowing up all over the place. Earlier today there was the report about, the Charlotte, and it was a legit report that they would take him on loan because they can, because he could actually play for them because it wouldn't be considered the third team. It has already been completely shot down, supposedly, to Paul Joyce by his people. He has no interest of leaving England, and will not go to Turkey. So that basically is telling you he's either coming back. Now, Unai Emery has just actually gone on record and admitted that 2 months ago they decided that they do not have faith in Harvey Elliot.
2 months ago?
This is the exact quote. The problem we have with Harvey is this year he is on loan, and in case he is playing matches, we must buy him. We decided 2 months ago we are not convinced to sign him. Spending the money we need. This is the issue. So ultimately, that to me screams, we will let him sit here all year and rot, or they have to figure something out because there's no recall in the loan. Yeah. So basically, Villa has to either pay Liverpool a fee, or they need to negotiate the wages, or maybe Villa pays his wages second half of the season. He comes back to Liverpool. Like there has to be
Liverpool
something.
Just give them a sweetener, don't they? Liverpool give them a sweetener on top and go, "We'll give you $500,000 now just to take him back." Okay, do you know what I mean?
And right, there has to be a negotiation. So assuming, right, and this is a big assumption, assuming he comes back, right? Do you see him integrating with the side? Do you see him almost kicking it up and saying, I don't want to be here. I have no interest in this. Like, I know he loves the club, but he has made it clear. And, where I don't feel for him as much is he knew Villa had a huge squad, and he knew Villa wasn't an easy place. He had other options that were guarantees, like Palace, Wolves, Leverkusen, where I think he would have seen a lot more minutes. He picked Villa because they were in the Champions League, playing a big stadium, and it's a big club. And I don't blame him because he's a very confident young man. But, it is kind of out there, in my opinion, as a lesson to young players. Not all loans are equal, and not all clubs make sense for every player. And I just never felt Villa made a lot of sense. I always thought this might happen to him.
Okay.
What now, though, for Harvey Elliott, in your mind, Cozzy? What do you think happens? Not what you think the manager will do or the club will do. What do you personally think will happen in the next 2 weeks with regards to Harvey Elliott?
I don't know. I'm genuinely up in the air about him. I think there's a part of that in the summer, Gal, that he's probably being sold a dream by Villa as well. So there has to be, Villa, you can be the main man here. You took the number, I think he took the number 9 shirt.
He's wearing the number 9.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're going to be the main guy and all this kind of stuff. So he's being sold a dream as well, hasn't he? Right? And then he's also probably went to speak down to our man, Gennard, and just went, not going to work out here for you. There's no minutes. Okay, sound, I'll go. No problem. Last day of the window. For Unai Emery to say 2 months ago we decided this and Liverpool have not worked something out is worrying, extremely worrying. Because I'm sure Villa would have reached out to Liverpool and went, say, 2 months ago and said, or even 4 weeks ago, maybe even last week when the window opened, this isn't working for us. What do you want to do here? I know what you're saying in terms of Villa have to pay the wage or whatever. I don't think it'd be anything like that. Liverpool shouldn't cut the door off on Villa and shouldn't piss Villa off. They actually should be helping.
Because you want Morgan Rogers.
Because you want Morgan Rogers, potentially. And also they might be a player in 10 years.
And that might be, to be honest, that might be your sweetener, Kyle. That might almost be like we'll give you $500,000. And we'll also promise that you're going to see that 85 million offer you expect to get you out of PSR hell at the end of the season in June.
So there's that argument as well. Liverpool don't want to. I say this all the time, and sometimes, again, it happened this way, unfortunately, with Newcastle, with Isaac, because Liverpool wanted Isaac so much, but you can't go back in now and go and get another one of their players. It's just, that door's closed for 5 years. Liverpool decided to close that door, because you know what I mean? Which is fine. You don't want to close the door on Villa. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to piss them off. You want to do them the favour. And it sounds like Villa. For people, by the way, who say, oh, he'll just let him rot here. It cost Villa money to let Harvey Elliot rot there. It costs some money, the PSR money. By the way, even just printing out his fucking shirt every day for training is an annoyance to them. You just don't want him around. Liverpool. So the question comes down, what do you want to do with Harvey Elliot? Well, the manager didn't fancy Harvey Elliot last season. Okay. I can completely understand that. The manager, by the way, last season, I can give the manager credit because he just got a tune out of 15 players and he won the league. So no one else could get in. Sound.
And they all stayed fit. They
stay fit, no problem.
That shit happens.
By the way, Harvey Elliot played one of the fucking best passes I've ever seen in the league called final to Chiesa, by the way, which will never get spoken about. But by the way, it's an unbelievable pass.
And the goal he takes against PSG on the road and gives us the win, where it's the biggest smash and grab job of all time. It was just absolute highway robbery.
The question is, and I will keep saying it, is he? And I'll go back to the point of like when was trying to look like for the Gnabry or Brennan Johnson. Is he better than Chiesa got? Harvey Elliot? Yes.
Yes.
Is he better on the ball than Cody Gakpo? Yes. Does he give the ball away as much as Cody Gakpo? No. Is he a better free kick taker and corner taker than most of our corner takers and free kick takers? Yes. So I keep saying it, girl. Someone has to play Barnsley. So someone probably has to play Karabakh if Liverpool do the business in Marseille. Someone has to play Karabakh. Someone has to play the FA Cup 4th round if you get through. Someone has to play these games. So why not just have an Elliot around? And also, you're protecting the value of the football player. This is another thing for those, like, you know, for the fans who are kind of like, well, he's not good enough or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But Liverpool still need to sell him in the summer.
Yeah.
And him sitting for a year on the bench of Villa, you've knocked 20 million. So for you to go and invest half a million to go and get Elliot back, you're protecting that value and you're going to get that money back when you sell him anyway in the summer. He's 21 years of age, girl. And there's also part of this conversation. And again, I keep coming back to it because it's all the bigger stuff. If it is Alonso that they fancy, let's just say it's Alonso they go in the summer with the diddle. He might be sitting there going, I quite like that Jaro Conte, you know. What's that buyback? I quite like that Harvey Elliot. I can do loads with him. Do you know what I mean? What doesn't work for this manager doesn't mean it's not going to work for another manager.
Well, that's the part where I do think the second half of the season to bring him back is a no-brainer. I said all along I didn't think it would happen. I didn't want it to happen because I was sticking firmly in the camp that I really believe Slot would turn it around enough that it would be clear by February or March he was in the frame for 26, 27. And there's no way in my heart or in my brain I can say that right now after what I've watched. Because yes, the results have changed, but it isn't just about results. Results keep you in a job. Performances and growth is what's going to allow them to reinvest in you longer. And that's just not happening. Maybe it's the amount of new players. Maybe they don't fit his system. And maybe that's part of the reason he separates himself from the club and the club separate themselves from him. And you make a point about Alonso. We've talked about Nagelsmann. There are other young managers that are out there that Maresca's available. Not that I rate Maresca personally, but he did win the championship, which is not an easy league to win. He learned under Pep, but we've seen that. But, Arteta's, as much as he annoys me, he has shown himself to be a top-level manager as far as he has built a squad that has an identity. I don't like Arsenal's identity. It would irritate me if he was the manager of my club. But if I'm an Arsenal supporter, I ain't kicking him out the dressing room because it's working.
But sometimes a player who doesn't work for one manager will work for another at a top club. And Arsenal's a great point with Kai Havertz. Didn't work at Chelsea, but he worked for Arsenal brilliantly. Noni Madueke didn't work for Maresca, but it's working for Arteta. So sometimes a different manager can get a different tune out of different players. That's the joys of hiring the right guy.
We're both in agreement on Harvey. We would like to see him return to the club. We'd like to see him get some opportunities. The second half, he offers us a midfielder. Another player on loan. I know it's a lot less sexy, but obviously he's the young McConnell kid. The manager clearly rated him last year. He played him until he got hurt, and then talked about him more than the others, gave him all the kudos after the Plymouth match. He has had a torrid, terrible time at Ajax. Can't even get into their youth setup. He is coming back. It sounds like his loan has been terminated. You send him back out on loan, or do you keep him? Because in my mind, I saw more in the few performances he put in last year than I've seen out of Neone in 2 years that he's ready to actually give you minutes in the Premier League.
It's not that. Gal, if you keep McConnell, it frees up the Endo role. You can sell Endo.
Right. This is where we were going to get to the next phase of that with McConnell. So you're bringing McConnell back and keeping him on the roster.
Yeah, and he can play Endo's minutes, can he? Like, what minutes? Endo plays? Exactly.
Manager doesn't play Endo and he's hurt.
But also, Gal, and I keep saying it, gents, someone's got to play Barnsley. And I don't want to see
and you expect to win that match, so somebody's got to play the next round of the FA Cup too.
Someone's got to play. Someone has to play Barnsley, and it's not about them. Like, you know, James McConnell like coming in and being a starter for Liverpool, but someone has to play the FA Cup third round, potentially the FA Cup fourth round, even potentially the fifth round. Someone has to go and do some dog minutes against Karabakh potentially if you're 3-0 up or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool have to having a body round is not the end of the world. And right now, Liverpool need bodies. Liverpool need bodies. So I'm just at the stage where if you do McConnell, Endo goes, it frees Liverpool up to go and do a big one. It frees up it frees them up to go and do a big signing that you might want to push forward in terms of a foreign player. And you can push that forward to January. Right now, for the people who don't know, Liverpool can't sign foreign players over the age of 23. That's why this centre-half is meant to be coming in. He's under the age, so it doesn't have to be registered yet, I don't think, as a foreign player, because I think it's 22 or 23. He's 21, the kid. So he can come in and start. But what McConnell allows is Endo out the door. Let's go, and then you can go, well, you freed up a spot. So hopefully that can happen. And listen, and by the way, whether you rate Endo or not, Endo has been a great servant. He was a great bit of business at the time.
Yeah, 10 million. It worked.
It hasn't worked under this manager, no problem. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm all right with that, man. I'm all right with McConnell coming back and kind of doing the Endo role.
And I know where Nick's coming from here. We're not saying by any means Harvey Elliot McConnell come save us. What we're saying is, but if you're watching this match now, it gives you two more bodies that allow you to rotate players and give minutes to other guys. And more importantly, it does free up the homegrown spot. Now, rumor that is coming out today, it's being reported by a few different sources, is that Chiesa has intimated to the club that he would be open to a loan move back to Italy as he prepares to make the World Cup roster. I think he has seen out the 6 months they asked him to see out. And I think he's probably more along the lines of the supporters with the hashtag free Chiesa. Now, he's gotten some opportunities recently. I know he hasn't gotten a lot in 2 years. I see some good things he does. I've always been a fan because I'm an Italian I support the Italian international team. I grew up Italian. I've watched a lot of their matches. I like Chiesa, the player. I love Chiesa, the professional, and the work rate. But I do think when you see him start matches, you kind of see why he doesn't start over some of these players. He runs a lot. He doesn't offer much. He runs out of gas. But ultimately, if a loan deal comes in, you're just blocking that out of just sheer numbers, or do you think that takes a little bit of wage off, takes a little bit of more, gives you two for homegrowns, and maybe you have the ability to go sign a couple additional players, including a bigger foreign player or a Serge Gnabry, maybe someone from La Liga. Maybe you go get the young 19-year-old kid at Leipzig, Diamande, or whatever it is. Like, he's a big talent. Where are you on Chiesa at this point? If an option came, would you consider it?
No, because we don't have the bodies. I'd consider it maybe on January the 31st. If Liverpool,
right, when you got Mo's back, you at least know when he's back. And
you go and get a signing in. You can't go now. I can't go this week. Are we mad? Like, we're fucking short as it is. He's playing minutes as it is. Like, and again, I'll say it again, gents. Someone has to play Barnsley. And I don't want to see fucking anyone else start apart from Federico Chiesa. He's the first name on my team sheet, Gal. He's at the top of it. So, yeah, how have we got ourselves in this position, Gal? How are we here from 6 months, even this time last year? How are we here? Like, the one thing, though, I think about this again, the manager at the Slot, he's entitled to make mistakes. He didn't make many mistakes last season. The squad was kept together. I think if you went back now and looked at the window, and not in terms of the signings, but I'm telling you some of the bodies that he let go, I think you'd kind of look and think I could have done with having the bodies around. By the way, Jurgen Klopp learned that. He learned that in 2021 and the 23-24 season, when he just kept the McConnells and your Jaden Dans and your Bobby Clarks around, because he was just like, you know what, if we're going to play in 4 competitions, we just need some fucking lads to play in them, because I've got my core of 16 lads who I don't want to play in the League Cup. I don't want to play in the FA Cup, especially the dog end rounds. I don't want to play them in Champions League nothing games. Do you know what I mean? And they were just around. He's been unlucky, so I will give the manager that. But I think he was naive to it in the summer, I think, of what these games entail and what these games allow. When I say naive, I mean in terms of the squad depth. There could have been loads. The Kwanzaa one's a killer for him, when I think about it. Because let's be frank, they sound Leone, but he's also been told to get Mark Gay. Do you know what I mean? And he probably went, well, I can use Gomez as a 5th choice, and Frimpong goes further forward. Bradley and Joe
still have Gomez as my 3rd right back and
3rd left back and 5th, 6th centre half, and he comes that squad player, and Frimpong can play further forward and all this kind of stuff. So he's been fucked there. But as much as he's been ruined by that, Liverpool's still got to play football matches in that time. And you have to figure it out. So if it is an Elliot, if it is McConnell coming back and just doing dog minutes for you, if it is a Semenyo, which I don't think Liverpool is signing, by the way. I think it would have been done by now for Liverpool.
No, he's going to City. I think that's pretty much done. Yeah. I think it's actually done. They're just waiting. And I think I even saw a report today that Bournemouth are basically understand that even if the deal's not done, it's so advanced, he won't even be in the squad this weekend. Out of fear that he gets injured, because they've committed to making the deal with City, and they don't want, to your point earlier, that's the type of bad business you do by playing a guy you've already really made a whole deal out, and then he does his hammy, and City are like, and now we're not dealing with you again. So the next time a James Trafford becomes available, Bournemouth, you get no shot at him, right? Like when we decide to sell Savinho eventually and Spurs tell us to pound sand after trying to get him for 3 years, he's not coming to Bournemouth, right? Like you don't want to create negative relations like we did with Newcastle over the summer with the Isak pursuit when they asked us to stop, right?
And
like,
sometimes for the right guy, you have to just say, okay, well, it is him. All the stats say it's him. It's everything's him. And you do break that relationship, but that's why the Elliot thing, and if it's Juventus, for example, 3 years ago, back to Juve or something like that, you don't want to lose that. You don't lose relationships because you don't know a player is coming up. There's a reason why Barcelona haven't signed a player from Liverpool since Coutinho.
Right. Well, they negotiated they wouldn't. I think it was 5 years, and we're not going to sell him another one.
And Edwards will definitely still remember that, and he'll go, no, I'm not dealing with just like I can't even be asked with just.
So I don't know if you saw this one. It's a former Liverpool, but there's links today that Juventus is coming in with a £30 million offer for one Tyler Morton that Lyon is considering because he's doing such a job in the French league and he's playing well in the Champions League, so that they're considering. Now you have a big club in Italy coming for a guy that we felt was surplus to requirements. And I hate to say it, every time I watched him play last year, I always thought to myself, man, that's a tidy player. If he got more minutes with good players around him and not having to be, the most senior player in a League Cup match or an FA Cup match he got to play, how that might look. So I don't know that I buy those reports entirely, but it's these types of things that are just piling up on both the management and the recruitment team. So I did want to ask you about the Ordonez kid. I am not going to act like I've seen a lot of them. His name came up over the summer as one to watch for the future because he has a big upside. I do know that he's highly rated by Ecuador. I see some of their matches here because of the, time zones when the international footy's on. And as a North American soccer fan, it's better to watch South American matches than it is North American matches. He's got a big talent. He has some good upside. If I gave you the option of signing a foreign-based player, though, a 21-year-old like Ordonez that plays right back, can play right back, do some center back for you, or say the Van Heck kid at Brighton, who's Premier League proven, more of a traditional center back, but also a little better on the ball. If you had that foreign slot available to you, would you prefer the Brighton kid? Would you go for the high? It sounds like the Ordonez kid has a bigger upside to him, but that Van Heck is probably a little bit more trusted. I mean, we need a center back, right? Regardless. And all reports are Gahey is not leaving in January. He's told City, all the other admirers, I'm going to wait for the Brinks truck to back up on July the 1st and start a bidding war with all of you. So who is it?
God. I don't mind Van Heck. I think he's a good player, but I think he's slow. And my issue is that when you're defending on the halfway line at Liverpool, it's fucking hard. So pace is key as a centre half.
And you are right. He got dropped once De Zerbi realized, when De Zerbi was playing that high line in the kamikaze football, was when Van Hecken went out of the team. It was when Graham Potter was there that in that slow possession base. So
a bit more.
So you're right there.
I just think so. I don't know anything about this kid, but get him in, Nathan Collins, and get him in. I'm not like, listen, I just think Liverpool, again, it comes down to body chance. Like at this stage, if this Ordonez kid, Liverpool need 4 centre halves. I keep saying this to people, and like no one seems to grasp. In the summer, Gomez has a year left. Canate's out of contract. Leone has got an ACL. Won't probably kick a ball until this time next year. And then Van Dijk has a year left. So Liverpool need fucking centre halves. So if it is this kid, I don't know. Then great. That feels like a £40-odd million deal. It feels like you pushed that forward till now as an option, which is great. Liverpool need a centre half desperately. But again, you've got to start your summer business now, Gal. You've got to start it now. I think there's a big conversation around right back. I think it's a massive conversation. I don't want to have a conversation like I really get into the weeds about. Conor Bradley's body is made out of fucking Play-Doh.
Well, and his brain, and let's be real, his body's made out of Play-Doh, and he has a footballing IQ slightly higher than Alberto Moreno.
Yeah, okay? That's completely fair. And I think we need a sense
of that's not slating him, because I think he's done a lot with the talents he has, and I think he's stepped up in a lot of ways, and he has heart, determination, graft, and grit. But you need more than that to play for Liverpool.
He needs to be switched on a bit. He needs to be switched on. I always think about this way when you watch teams, the bigger teams like your Cities and that. The best players are not the ones who work the hardest and all that. They recognise game state. They recognise when another team's on top. And they don't go battling in and get a yellow card and get the other crowd up away from home and stuff like that. That's your Bradley conversation about. You're like, hey lad, just realise when you need to be pinned in for 10 minutes. Just realise that you need to soak up a bit of pressure and then you start playing your footy again. The best players do that, like your Bernardo Silvas and players like that. Recognise it brilliantly. Bradley doesn't. But that might come with age. But I by the way, Gal, if you ask me for any position now for like January, apart from like, a winger, I'd take a centre mid. I think we're desperate. I honestly, people don't talk about it at all. I think we're so desperate for the centre midfielder, it's a joke. And I just feel like because what that does with Laugal, by the way, it allows you to push McAllister further forward. If you sign the centre mid now, it goes to McAllister. You're going to be the Harvey Elliot, the Florian Wirtz replacement. Do you know what I mean? Like for the subs and pushing them forward. So, fucking old girl. We just need a few players and maybe we need a couple of signings. Liverpool, after Arsenal, had 10 days, 11 days before the next Premier League game. I think it might be 9 days, I can't remember. But I know we have a long time. We have the Barnsley game, of course, which Virgil van Dijk are not playing. So I would like some new footy players maybe by the time. I think it's Burnley or almost something like that we play on the 17th. I'll check now. I think it's something like that, and I would like some new players in by then. Nick
says really focused on the defensive upgrades, but there's no pace or creativity up front. Pressure is always on the defense because we don't score. We did touch on that, Nick, to start the show, actually talking about both the pace and the attacking options and what it means when you're starting one attacker in your front three at home against a promoted side. It just didn't make much sense to us. And Saidu says, God bless you, Cozzy. Even if we get Ordonez now, Gahey for free, we need Bastoni, a high ceiling center back. And I do agree with that, but let's talk summer in the summer. We will get out of here on this. Last report coming out today from a transfer news regarding Liverpool was that Roma basically are seriously interested in re-signing Mo Salah in the summer. See it as a signing of intent. It's coming out of Italy from a few different reported. They know they can't do it now because they are over their EU, their European conference. They're over their foreign quota for the Italian rules. Do you think a move like that, assuming Salah comes back and knows I have one more move in me, do you think Mo Salah is more likely to try to go to a place like a PSG that don't seem like that's in their fold? They're not signing high expensive older players anymore. They're really focusing more on younger, pacey athletic players. Do you think he takes an opportunity to go back to Italy or to one of the other domestic leagues across Europe? Or do you think he takes the bag of cash and goes to Saudi?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he wins AFCON, wouldn't it? And then go.
It's a really good point, actually.
Like, it'd be if he wins AFCON, what do you have left? Is it time to cash in? I don't know if Roma is like, maybe he wants to win Serie A, I don't know. Does he believe that he still wants to play Champions League football and have a chance of winning it? But I don't think Roma have a chance of winning the Champions League anyway.
That's kind of where my brain was going as well. But then again, it's like, is he going to Bayern? He's probably not going to Madrid. He's probably not going to Barcelona, right? Like, so what club can he go to that has a chance to win Champions League football? Which brings me back to, does he take the bag of cash in Saudi, or does he take the bag of cash and the good weather in America and decide?
I would love him to do that, like what Messi's done, and come to America. And not just for like the American fans, of course. Yeah, that would be tremendous, and going to see him for the game would be amazing. Taking a Liverpool scarf and shit. But I just think it just do something different. Just like what Messi's done. Just do something different and come in and win the league like he has done here at the MLS Cup. Just come and, I don't know.
Let's be real. He did more than just win the league. He did what Beckham couldn't do. He actually made the world watch the MLS. I mean, there were really good ratings this year. I think, I forget what channel, BBC or one of them picked up. They actually show some late night MLS matches, and the ratings have improved. And of course they have. One, because the league is doing a better job of finding young South American talent and not buying as many, washed up foreign guys on a retirement wage. But Lionel Messi brings credibility to a league that was dying for it. And what a get Mo Salah would be.
By the way, I think as well, and this is not to be too political here, to have a world-renowned Muslim in America on a world stage wouldn't be
a bad thing at all.
It wouldn't be a bad thing for the world, would it? So
no, and God knows we are all about bringing good things to the world on this program on Friday mornings. That's why they put assholes like us to host the thing. On behalf of both of us, I want to say Happy New Year to all of you again. Happy and healthy start to 2026. All I could say is this: the Reds haven't won a game yet in 2026, but I'm pretty sure it can't get any worse. So here's today's getting better. And if it gets worse, well, we'll be here next Friday. We'll be here next Friday. And we got Arsenal on Thursday. Unfortunately, it might just get fucking worse.